Hello, pharmacy. I'd like a refill of prescription that I need to function and is dangerous to go off of suddenly. Yes, of course. Let me check on that for you. Oh, that's a bummer. It looks like you need a prior authorization for this medication. That doesn't sound right. I have refills all the way through July. Will you check again? I see that, but your insurance company isn't going to cover it. You need to get it authorized again. If you'd like, you could pay for this $1,400 a month medication out of pocket. Let me call my insurance company.
There's something deeply wrong with the way the United States does healthcare, and we all know it.
Insurance company, I got this medication authorized for the year 6 months ago. I've also been taking it at this dose for 2 years now. Please let me get my medication. Sorry, we're gonna need a letter from your doctor approving this dose. It is the new year and you haven't hit your deductible yet, so we don't want to pay for this. Okay. If you don't want to jump through all of these bureaucratic hoops every 6 months, you could take 7 milligrams in the morning and 7 milligrams at night instead of the 10 milligrams in the morning, 5 milligrams at night you do take. That dosing is FDA approved. I don't want to suddenly change my dosing right before my semester starts. Also, you as my insurance company should not be able to dictate the dose of my medication simply because you want to. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. I hope you understand that. I will call my doctor. Hey, you do that. Hello, doctor's office. I know you're incredibly busy and don't actually have time for this. Will you please play phone tag with my insurance company for like 2 hours today so that I can get the medication I need? I am so sorry.
So this TikTok by Greasy Little Salamander points out her difficulties in getting access to medication that she's been on for a long time. And unfortunately, this is something that happens with great regularity across the United States of America. And why is this? Well, of course, it's because of insurance companies and this ridiculous idea that a private company, which is not in any way, shape, or form directly involved with any type of healthcare or the providing of healthcare, should have some sort of say over what healthcare you're allowed to have and aren't allowed to have, or at very least will be covered, which really just means allowed or not allowed, because let's face it, who has enough money to pay for anything in healthcare up front with their own cash? And there's something really deeply wrong with that, because if you really look at the business model of insurance companies, the whole idea is that they make a profit by denying care. You pay regular payments, your employer pays regular payments, and the more healthcare they deny you, the more profits they make. That is fundamentally the entire basis of insurance, is making sure that they are denying enough care that they're not spending more money than they're taking in. It is, by definition, a net loss for people that are actually purchasing insurance. And the simple fact that private insurance companies are allowed to override literal doctors when it comes to healthcare decisions is fundamentally dangerous, because it means that people's lives are literally at the hands of their wallet. And it means that our system is always going to be catered towards the incredibly wealthy, because if hospitals are responding to the demands of insurance companies, that means that hospitals are going to be providing care with the knowledge that insurance companies are going to influence it. And there's this idea that because we live under a free market system of capitalism, that everything should be efficient and should work better, that it's all about bringing costs down. But the reality is, all the insurance companies actually do is bring costs substantially up by adding a ton of administrative bloat and middlemen to something that really doesn't need it. I mean, let's imagine a system, for example, that's just completely universal. All the hospitals, clinics, pharmacies are all owned by the government. Let's think about what that looks like for a second. You show up, you get your care. Your doctor logs all of your care in your medical records, and then the accountants at the hospital, clinic, pharmacy, whatever, just log the cost in total that the hospital takes to run every single month, sends that to the government, and the government just covers it. That's a pretty simple system, where all that really ends up happening on an individual basis is your medical records being kept, and the costs are just lumped together at the level of like the hospital or the clinic or whatever. But under a private system where you have private insurance companies, it gets way more complicated, because now not only do you need to log stuff in medical records, but you also need to log it in billing statements that go to insurance companies, and those insurance companies have to have staff that look at those billing statements and figure out what they will or will not cover and send those back to the hospital. And now all of a sudden, not only are you demanding time from the doctors, but you're also demanding administrative staff from the hospitals to deal with the insurance companies, not to mention the administrative staff on the insurance company's side, the amount of time that it takes to communicate between them, and then of course the customer service at the insurance company to deal with you. And that of course has nothing to do with the amount of advertising that goes into this and all of the other ridiculous things that insurance companies put into, not to mention of course the profit profits that they make every single year. All of that money that is spent on administrative staff, not only within the insurance companies, but also with the hospital, and also the profits of the insurance companies across the board, is something that is quite literally just taken away from care. That is money that we are wasting as a society. And unfortunately, it is a huge part of the economy. And it's put us in this position where instead of things being as simple as you getting care that your doctor says that you need, there are private, for-profit institutions that have nothing to do with medicine that get a say as to whether or not you get the treatments that you need, the pharmaceuticals that you need, and just the basic human dignity of knowing that whenever you have something that's a medical necessity, that it will actually be taken care of.